Ronnie, you guys all talked about, what impact these freshmen could make and kind of the things that they were bringing as far as like depth and energy to practice and stuff. But are you starting to see what you guys expected from them as far as game contributions? I mean, tonight all four of them, and in Basel too, had pretty decent games.
I think so. I mean, they've been bringing a lot of help, and not even in the game, but in practice also with competition. And, as far as the game, that's why Coach Payne recruited these guys, and he knew that they'll help us with scoring and, defense. And I think they've been doing a pretty good job at that.
Ronnie, one thing you guys haven't been able to do the first couple of games, maybe with the exception of the Central Connecticut game, was getting off to a fast start. Obviously tonight you start off 12-0. Was that your defense that kind of warmed them up, or was it something they were struggling with on offense, or what would you chalk that start up to?
Well, I thought first, it's the first time we got the first tip, so I think that was something that started us off right. And as far as the game, well, we had a couple good stops, and that's what we need to do to start off the game right. And we got some quick buckets, and also with jamming it down in the paint and just running in transition, that we got some fast buckets in transition.
I guess two things. One, how painful was that fall that you took? And then after that, then just kind of maybe describe a little bit your role and how you perceive it now.
When I fell down, I was in pain. I couldn't breathe there for a second, so I was like, I was thinking in my head a whole bunch of like cuss words I wanted to yell out, but I try to keep it in. But my role is I just try to go out there and play with energy. I try to bring like scoring and defense and all types of things off the bench, and try to do the best I can.
Kendall, you'd had a rough game or two there as far as shooting the ball, but I see you did what I assume the coach told you to do, is keep shooting through it, and obviously it clicked there for you in the second half.
Yeah, you're going to have nights when, it don't fall. But, the biggest thing is, in order to stay on the court, is to do other things, rebounding, being disciplined on defense, things like that. And, there's going to be nights where it don't fall, but you got to stay confident in yourself.
Kendall, you guys were 0-9 collectively in the first half from three. When that first one went for you and then that one went for Rayfell, did that kind of change things for you a little bit?
Yeah,
talk about the whole team, not necessarily just you.
Yeah, I think our team feeds off of other guys scoring and getting excited, things like that. And, I got the ball rolling, and we were able to increase the lead a little bit more.
Kendall, just going off of that a little bit, the little things that you had mentioned, you've obviously been rebounding really well throughout the first couple of games. What's enabled the guards on this team to be able to contribute a little bit more with AJ and Jay out there as well, but you guys, kind of carry the load a little bit? Yeah,
of course, Jay and AJ are look to do the main part of the rebounding. But, the guys got to help out. The point guys got to be around for the keyhole, which is around the free throw line for the rebounds. And the wings got to be taking the load off of the bigs as far as boxing their guys out. So, when as collectively as a team, when you do that, the team flows better and we're a better team.
Coach, you've got to be pretty happy with how AJ played tonight, starting off the game so hot and with Jaded off the bench. Could you talk about what those two have brought on the post tonight?
Well, I thought, Eastern Illinois has some very good size. Both of those guys do a good job of clogging the middle, and then they mixed it up some, and they played some man and they played some zone. But I thought, we didn't do a good job of getting AJ and Jay the ball. I think they should get the basketball more, especially after we struggled shooting the ball. And but, it's still a good balance. If you look at AJ and Jay's numbers together, in the minutes that they played, I think it was 17 points, 11 rebounds between them in less than 40 minutes. That's still pretty productive for one position.
Matt, just how encouraging was it to see them get off to the start they got off, going out 12-0?
Yeah, that's what we talked about, in the locker room. It's why I talked about before the game and said, if we're not going to have energy to start the game, then that means I'm starting the wrong people, because I believe we have more than 5 guys in this locker room that deserve to start, and we're going to have to mix some things up so we can do a better job. That group together has played well. They just hadn't played well at the start of a game. So it wasn't like it was a bad mix, and I thought our guys did a good job of just being ready to play.
Sure, the freshmen kept shooting, and Kendall was a good example of that. Obviously, you had a rough game on Sunday and then a rough first half today as far as shooting the ball. Right. And then that first one he hit seemed to be a spark not just for him, but maybe everybody got you guys out to about a 20-point lead.
Yeah, anytime a guy can, shoot the ball as well as he can, you can be a game changer. He did not affect the game at all, for 20 to 25 minutes. Then all of a sudden, in about a minute and a half, 2 minute span, he hits 3 straight, and it just opened up the game. If you're in a tight game and it's close and you do something like that, it's probably the difference in the game, having a run like that. So it's a great weapon to have.
It was the case tonight, but do you think this team does a pretty good job turning defensive aggressiveness into offensive aggressiveness?
We try to. We've tried to talk to them about swarming the basketball a little bit more, not being a watcher, whether that's a long rebound or digging in the post or just helping on penetration or getting into rotations, is trying to make those 50-50 plays when the ball gets loose and then turn them into points, because you're not going to have good transition balance anytime you don't get those 50-50 balls and you're on the offensive end. So we want them to push it. We want them to go with it, but we also want them to reverse the basketball if it's not there and to get into offense. And it's always a fight as a coach to have, is when to attack and when not to attack. And, I always use the phrase patiently aggressive. You got to try to steal points somehow, some way, either off turnovers or off the glass. And if you can't, you have to be really good in the half court against a set defense. So trying to get them to understand when to go and when not to is always a process. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. If you guys want to ask any questions. Okay. Well, it was a real surprise to us, obviously when somebody commits, and you think you're done recruiting. We recruited a couple guys in that position, and it's hard to sign bigs, and so we missed out on both of them. So then, closer to the signing date, we found out that there was going to be some interest, and he was going to open it back up to the schools that had recruited him before, and just fortunate to land him, to get a guy, 7'2", 280 pounds, that could move and score with his back to the basket and block shots and rebound, and I think he's got a chance to be a really good player, and like I said before, it was a very unique situation for us, and we put a lot of time into recruiting him, but then for him to commit somewhere else, and then all of a sudden 6 weeks later he just more or less landed in our lap, where we feel very fortunate.
Can you talk maybe just more about that, what the process was there in those last few days? Because obviously we talked to you on Wednesday, and you said
Right.
that it might be until spring before you got
Correct.
somebody, and then a couple days later you're in Alabama talking to him as
Yeah.
he's heading
Yeah.
over to UAB for his visit there. So
Right.
It sounded like a pretty brief visit from talking to him, like maybe only 20 minutes or so that you got to spend with him. Just kind of how did that all work out in those 48 hours?
Yeah, when I talked to you guys, obviously I didn't know that he was opening it back up, and I don't know if it was the next day or 2 days later it happened, and when he opened it back up, trying to navigate through that, to get there to talk to him. I've left practices early. I've missed like individual workouts and things like that, but in terms of a practice getting ready to play somebody, I've never just missed the whole practice. And that's what I did. I just felt it was that important for our program, and I just left and went there, and I wanted to get to him, as soon as I could, and try to talk to him about our situation and where we thought we would be and how much we needed him. And after you've recruited somebody for a long time, it's just you've already went through it once, and now trying to refresh his memory on why we feel it's the best situation. And so I just talked to him for about 20-30 minutes, and was prepared to go back again if need be, but obviously he committed to us.
That was Friday that you.
When did we? Was it? Okay, Friday. Yeah, I don't remember when to take the trash out. So that wasn't a joke either.
Do you remember saying to him something about keeping his word or something like that? Because he said that maybe Purdue got word that this was happening, and he talked to you, and you said something along the lines of, I want you to keep your word because I don't want to be part of you backing out on another school. Is that true?
Yes, it's true. It wasn't, you're paraphrasing, obviously. They just asked me my opinion, and I gave my opinion to them when they called and told me that I just asked them if they wanted my advice. And they said yes. I said, I just think you've given your word to another school, unless there's extenuating circumstances from your belief. I think you should stay with it, because I didn't know the situation, nor is it any of my business. So I'm not going to talk to somebody about somebody else. And so then they scheduled a visit to officially visit another school. And I just said, well, if he's not going to go to that school, then I think it it makes sense to recruit him at that point. But I just didn't want to, he was confused, and I just felt it was the best. I've been on the other end of it, and I thought it was the best advice if he was my son to advise him to stay with his commitment. But they felt there was extenuating circumstances, and so they decided to open it up. So, all right. Thanks. Thank you.